Welcome to this video where we're going to talk about duplications of campaigns and how easy it is. Now, you will wonder why you would need to duplicate a campaign. Well, here's the deal. You might wish to test a new webinar. It's a very common instance of this. Now, why would you do that under a new duplicate campaign rather than just edit the existing one? Well, you could do the editing of the existing one by making a note of when you change the video, as we've shown you in the edit campaign video support, or you can actually create a new one. Now, the problem with editing is that when you make that edit, you've then got to now make a note and remember what date you changed the webinar. So then when you do your reporting, you've then got to try and work out and remember the date that you changed the webinar and then analyze the data from that point and then go back and analyze the data from when it was before to see whether or not the new webinar worked. But obviously, as you're recording a new webinar, then it makes it very easy to put in a new call booking link. Now, if you're not obviously editing the webinar and you want to edit a lead page, then I would say we'll just do this normally inside of the editing function. But if you want to edit a new webinar and test out a new webinar, the better way to do it is to test in isolation. And you can do that by literally going, right, what we're now going to do is create a new campaign, okay, but I'm going to change just the webinar. Okay, because then when I re-record the webinar, I'm now going to put my link in for the new campaign. So then I now have two campaigns, the old webinar and the new webinar, and I can see when I then market the new webinar with my new link for the campaign, that one from that new webinar now gets more call bookings. Okay, so just be aware, when you set up a brand new campaign, you will have a new call booking link and a new promotional link, i.e. a link that you'll put on your Facebook ad. Okay, so be aware of that, but it is the best way to do it because then at a glance, so let's say here, I've got this existing webinar, okay, so I then see at a glance, say this was the new webinar and this was the old one, I can then see at a glance, well look, this one obviously worked better because it got me one call booking, whereas that one got me 0. So now I can see at a glance, whereas I have changed it and edited it, I'd have to try and work out why and make notes and all that. So I highly recommend if you are going to test a new webinar, to basically go and create the webinar, put the new call booking link in, and also then make sure you change your Facebook link that you're going to send them to the new campaign, and then you can see this data separate, so new webinar versus old webinar. Okay, so hopefully that's nice and clear. So, of course, to set up a whole campaign again, it's like, oh, it's going to take me a bit of time to do because I've got to remember all the emails that I've edited or all those extra bits that I did or the lead page copy I wrote. Well, that's obviously why we created this duplicate campaign button. It's very, very simple. So let's say this is my existing webinar and I think, oh, I really need to replace it. And obviously I've got my call booking link here for my and my promotional link, my webinar URL link for my Facebook ad, etc. So I want to now test a new webinar. So the first thing I'm obviously going to need to do is duplicate the campaign to get a new call booking link. And then once I've got a new call booking link, I also have a new campaign link, which I then need to change in my Facebook ad. So all I'm going to do is hit the duplicate campaign button for the one that I want to duplicate. I'm now going to call this, test, let's call this test 222 duplicate, let's say, okay. So I now know internally that's what that is. And this is then going to just be new webinar. Okay, so now I know this is a new webinar. I'm now going to click Start Campaign, like so. That's now going to create the entire campaign, exactly a carbon copy of the other one. So that means you've not had to do anything. All your text is in there, all your emails, your SMSs, anything you've done, all the lead page copy, all the videos are in there already. But remember, we wanted to change, obviously, the webinar. So all we're going to do is pop on over here to Content. Now we want to change out this particular webinar to the new one, so we're just going to click in here. Okay, well, we'll leave that one for now because obviously we need to get the call booking link. So what I would recommend is we go over to the publish, make this one active, click save again. Again, don't refresh unless you click save and save to make sure the data's all saved. And then that's now going to give me the two new links in here. Okay, so this is why the duplication button is so good, because now obviously we haven't got a new video selected, because now we can take this call booking link, go and record our webinar, okay, put this new call booking link in there, come back to edit it, okay, like so. And let's say now I've done this, I've recorded, I've put the new call booking link in here, I'm going to come back to the content, I'm now going to select my new webinar, so let's say this is my new one. Like so, that's my brand new webinar now with the new link in it. Obviously, don't refresh the page, go over to the publish side of it, click save, again so we know we've got all the confirmed changes. And bingo, I've now completely replicated this, but with a new link for the booking call booking that's now included in my webinar. I've updated my new webinar, so it's all ready to go. And then all I now need to do is just take that new link, and when I'm now going to Facebook, I now need to obviously put that link into the Facebook ad, and that will now direct all the traffic to the new webinar. Okay, and obviously if you've got existing ads out there, you may wish to leave them with the old webinar. And when you're testing the new webinar, make sure you include that link on your ad, and then you'll then have a like-for-like comparison, very, very easy, so you can see which webinar is working better. Okay, so that's when you'd use that duplicate campaign button, or if you just want to duplicate a campaign and make changes and stuff, that's another way of doing it as well, but that's typically when you would use the duplicate campaign button.